All right, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. This is going to be a big one. In fact, I would even go so far as to say this is going to be a huge one, and this is the video that I am personally most excited to talk about since I started Black Desert Online videos. And those of you guys who watch the Twitch live stream, twitch.tv/salt, you guys will know exactly why. And that is because what we are going to go over today is some major changes that they are currently working on with specifically the enhancing system. That's right. There are going to be massive changes coming to the enhancing system, and it's going to be more than one. And just at a very quick glance here, you guys can take a look at this image here. You can see that there's a lot going on, and obviously that means a lot of different changes are going to be coming. And as we kind of get further along into this video, a lot of the things that you see in this image are going to become a bit more clear. So I will say, though, that this is going to be a big one, guys. It's probably going to be a bit of a longer video. We've got a lot to get into today, and I'm super excited about it, but I want to make sure to really go over all of these things in detail because I know how much of a headache enhancing is for so many people. I personally enjoy it a lot. I enjoy live streaming it as well, and we do a whole bunch of it, but I know for a lot of people, a lot of the different processes with enhancing are incredibly tedious, boring, and just a big headache to have to go through, and they actually go and try to resolve a lot of those problems, including the core fundamental problem they believe they have with the enhancing system. And let's really get into it. So we'll get back to this image here, especially as we kind of go through these different changes and get a better understanding of them so it becomes a little bit more clear. But let's scroll back up here to the top to where these changes begin. And I will say that what we are looking at in specific is actually a developer note from the patch notes of the Korean version of the game. So this is a translation, of course. Word for word, it might be a little bit tricky, but it'll be pretty easy to get the general idea here of what is going on and what these changes are. But if you guys want to get into this in extreme detail, I'm not going to read it word for word, especially this part here at the very top. I will leave a link in the description and also in the comment section so you guys can take a look at it in extreme detail on your own, maybe a little bit later on, but we'll go through all of the important stuff nonetheless. So this very first section right here is the introduction of the note where they are going over a lot of their changes that they actually streamlined in a update last week, and we went over it actually. That's that update with all of the Kaphra Stone changes, the fact that they are increasing the drop rates of Kaphra Stones, they're increasing the amount of Kaphra Stones that you end up getting from daily quests by quite a bit actually. They also went over all those Black Star changes. Massive Pure Magic is now going to be able to be acquired from a whole bunch of different lower level spots. They're going to increase the amount of them you get from the excavation nodes, and there's just so many different things that are coming to the game. We just had that patch note from a week ago where we went over all that stuff, and now here we are a week later, and there's even more coming specifically to enhancing. And this is why I say the future of Black Desert Online is just looking so good. When we see stuff like this and when we see two big things back to back 2 weeks in a row, like that is absolutely huge, and I am so unbelievably excited. So let's get into it there. First, gathering reliance on Black Star. There we go. That's that massive Pure Magic change. In more depth, a lot of content needs to be looked at too more carefully, such as node war rewards, Crow Coin exchange, the Patrigio shop. This is, again, if you guys watch the live stream, oh boy, I do a lot of that already for that massive Pure Magic, but now they're going to be doing even more to improve it. Dark Rift, the Charm of the Field Boss, Manasham's Deep Night Fang, etc. So lots of different plan changes that they are still working on implementing. And now this next section here is something I'm not going to read word for word, but it is very important. I'll tell you guys the general outline of what this is here because honestly, this is what they're really trying to address with the problem with enhancing, and that is when they originally intended enhancing, or when they originally implemented the fail stack system, they intended it to be a good thing. It's something that people were supposed to look forward to. When you failed, you get something called fail stacks that increase your chance of success. And basically what that means is that there's not absolutely nothing that you get in return for failure. You still get something out of it, right? It's kind of like a fail-safe or a pity system in a sense. It's a very early pity system that they intended, and early on when it was first introduced, it was a good thing. People look forward to it. They look forward to fail stacks, but now it's turned into quite the opposite. It's just another chore, and people no longer look forward to fail stacks. Now it's something that you have to do to begin the process of really enhancing. You have to build up a bunch of fail stacks just to actually get to the part where you enhance your main gear or your big items that you're working to try to improve. And it's something that people absolutely dread, going through that really tedious process. And a very big part of that tedious process, and something that they are really trying to address in these updates is, well, I'll go ahead and show you guys as an example. And those of you guys who watch the Twitch stream know exactly what this is. And if you do a lot of enhancing, unfortunately, if you want to do it efficiently, you have to spend a decent amount of time doing this. And that is the process of ReBlacking. And this is how you build up those very early fail stacks, where you take something like a plus 14 ReBlack boot, because it has a low chance to succeed. What you do is you build up your first few fail stack levels doing this. And I've got 3 permanent levels already, so that's what those are for. But basically, you just do this, you know, over and over and over, and you build up those early fail stacks. Then you click on a different piece of gear, and whenever you succeed, you have to start this process over again, and you do this over and over and over and over, and that's basically what 90% of enhancing is you spend literally 90% of your time just going back to the very starting step and clicking on ReBlack boots. Because the thing with enhancing is every time you succeed, you have to go all the way back to step 1, and because step 1 is the ReBlack boots, you're going to be doing step 1 a lot. So it's something a lot of people hate, and that's why, like, you know, dragon scale fossils is something that a lot of people will actually buy. And what this does is you can turn these in for those 20 stacks, avoid that reblasting process. But the thing is, these are very expensive, and you pay a big convenience cost for these, so they're not efficient. If you want to enhance and save silver or make your gear for a decent cost, you can't really end up buying a bunch of these because you're paying a premium to save yourself that really big headache that a lot of people want to skip out on. And I mention that because, as you guys will see, one of the big things that they're going to be improving is the actual chance to get those dragon scale fossils and make them have a much higher drop rate. So let's get back into it. Now you guys know one of the big core philosophies of what they're actually trying to improve when it comes to the enhancing process, and that's kind of what a lot of this really gets into. So let's get into the actual 4 or 5 different updates that they have that they're going to be implementing to enhancing. And number 1 is going to be the reinforcement window organization. Basically what that is the changes to the UI, right? So if you go back and you take a look at this image here, you guys can see that the enhancing UI looks a little bit different here, and that is the new UI. That is that first change right there. And the thing is there's a lot of other things going on here that are going to be new that kind of fit in with this change to the UI. So it's not just a new UI for looking better, obviously. It's going to include a lot of other new things as well. And right here, you could see that first one is added early stack exchange using Blackstones. And this is awesome. This is kind of funny because I've talked about this on the Twitch live stream multiple times. I've made this suggestion word for word. Like, I can't believe that this is coming to the game. Like, I'm in shock. I'm like, wow, this is literally what we've been going over before, like word for word, is the option there of being able to exchange your Blackstones for fail stacks without having to go through the ReBlack process. You'll just quite simply be able to use this new interface, and if you go here, you'll see that there's the Blackstones in the picture, and you'll be able to quite simply click on your Blackstones and just get those first few fail stacks or whatever. It's only going to go up to a certain point, obviously, right? It's not like you'll be able to do this. It won't be overpowered. Hopefully they'll balance it properly, because the numbers do need to be right to make sure that, first of all, it's obviously worth doing. If it's too expensive, it's going to be like a major problem like dragon scale fossils, where yes, it's nice, but the cost is so high that you know, will it be worth it, essentially? Is if it's way too high, then even the convenience cost might be a little bit too much. But if it's too low, it could also have the opposite effect, where it's going to break the economy of the game to the point where, you know, enhancing is now just the economy of the game is very important. So they need to make sure to balance this properly, obviously, but it's still very exciting to know that that will be coming to the game. So that's that first change. Here's the second one. Increase dragon scale fossil utilization, increase the drop rate in additional NPC exchanges. So those dragon scale fossils, which are very, very useful, they will have a higher drop rate. So we might see those go down in price. We might see them actually get to a point where they, even for somebody like me, maybe they'll be worth buying, right? Because I can't say that. With the amount of enhancing that I do on my live stream, like, I cannot use dragon scale fossils. They are way too expensive. I have to go through the boring part, which sucks. I don't even like it. Like, I really don't. I have to spend a lot of time doing it because I enhance for profit, but I don't like doing that. I have to do it because that's the cost-efficient option. The convenience cost is way too high for somebody like me who does enhancing for profit. If you're just doing a few items because you want to enhance a couple items just for yourself, profit's not your main goal. It's totally fine, but you know, with these increased drop rates, I'm really looking forward to see if maybe it'll even be worth using fossils for somebody like me. So that's another change coming. Number 3, expansion of the Blackstone supply and demand methods of frozen waves. You can definitely strengthen the East Tubala. That second part there, even for me, I'm not entirely sure what that's going to translate to, but just more rates for Blackstones, more materials, just making and enhancing just more convenient and easier overall, because it is such a massive headache for so many people right now. And then this one right here is they're actually going to be moving the priest over to the blacksmith, to where if you do still end up going through and using the reblack process after these changes, you will not have to run all the way to the church. So again, those of you who watch the live stream, this so-called walk of shame, as I mentioned many times before, we have to make that walk of shame whenever the reblack boots end up hitting plus 15 here from the reblack process, because when you do end up building your fail stacks, and this right here, when you end up doing this, when you build your stacks, let's say I'm going to a level of, let's say like 15, right? When you're going to level 15, occasionally you're going to end up succeeding. And we'll try one more time for the video, because I don't want to be here all day doing this, but we'll try one more and see if I succeed on the way to, there we go. There you have it. So that's going to happen, right? You're going to succeed. Perfect. That's great timing for the video there. Worked out great. No editing involved. But when that happens enough, and I have a whole inventory of my boots right here, what you got to do to de-level them is you run over from the blacksmith, you run over to the church, and then at the church, he cleanses your boots for 100,000 silver and de-levels them back from 15 to 14. And all that means is that you have to go through an annoying run. It takes 30, 40, 60 seconds, but that might not seem like a lot. When you enhance all day long, you have to make that run a lot, because you're going to be reblacking a lot, and now they're just going to be moving it over to the church. Save some time and effort there. So there you have it, and now let's get back into that UI. So I want to explain exactly what is going on here. Reorganization of the reinforcement UI. First of all, we will completely reorganize the enhancement UI so that new adventurers can easily understand and use the enhancing system. The key is to bring the stack system, which had to be made outside the reinforcement window, into the reinforcement window. In the revamped enforcement window, you can intuitively know what items are needed to make a stack, while creating and saving stacks directly from the reinforcement window will be easier. In the meantime, many adventurers have consistently offered opinions. Why don't you exchange Blackstones for stacks right away? Nevertheless, the reason why we did not add that function was because the concern that we might be creating a system for a system. It's funny, it is true. I agree. I don't know if that was, personally, I don't know if that was big enough of a reason for them not to make a change like this, but I understand their logic of how fail stacks are already a system designed for enhancing. It's a subsystem to obviously increase your chance to success. And now if you have another system exchanging Blackstones for fail stack levels, you have a system for a system, and then you have a system for a system for a system, and it overcomplicates things to the point where it's like just such a big headache. Enhancing was already a headache, and now when you do these kinds of things, you make it even bigger of a headache. So that's their, I guess, their game philosophy and why they never did the system to begin with there. So system for system, that is an excessively arbitrary behavior. I've always thought that the Black Desert should be a game with an emotional adventure. To that end, we have made several updates, and there are many that have been abandoned. However, I thought that if this situation continued, it might be going against the flow of the times. The times are constantly changing, and we can't go back to the past. So I think that if the adventurers of the present age want to, we must find the answer in any way. So again, translations, not perfect word for word, but we get the general idea here. And when they originally made that fail stacking system, it was a good thing. A lot of people really liked it. It was a huge leap forward many, many years ago, back before, like now you can compare it, fail stacking, to pity systems that a lot of games have, right? And it's a very, very early archaic pity system compared to what we have now, right? But back then it was a good thing. A lot of people really liked it. It's turned into such a massive chore now that it's finally time to address a lot of these very, very big concerns. So of course, it is thus a stack exchange function using Blackstones is added. And okay, so there we go. You'll be able to exchange Blackstones directly for fail stack levels. Of course, it is necessary to apply the efficiency at an appropriate level by balancing it with other existing stack systems so that the cost will be higher. There you have it, guys. Very, very, very important here. They need to make sure to balance this properly, right? This is huge. The entire game's economy really revolves around enhancing, and it's even those very first steps, like if you end up making it to where it's too cheap, or if it's too expensive, then nobody's going to use it and all of this effort goes to waste, right? Like if it's costs way too many blackstones, say it costs 100 blackstones to get 10, 15 fail stack levels, your first 10 fail stack levels. That's way too expensive at that point. Nobody's going to use it. It'll all go to waste. But on the other side, if they make it too cheap, then it's going to lower the cost and it's going to crash the cost of all of the rare and expensive gear. And while it might seem like a good thing right off the bat, like, is that a bad thing if everything gets really cheap? Well, you know, at that point, it's just going to have an impact on the entire economy. And a lot of the thing that makes those rare items rare is the fact that they're not super easy to get. They're valuable. And if they don't maintain their value, then it's going to cause lots of other problems in the game. And, you know, this is something they really need to balance properly. I do hope that they get these numbers right. But either way, this is a big, big thing coming to the game. So and a limit may be set so that it can only be created under a certain stack. So you won't be able to do this to build like 500 fail stacks or whatever. You'll only be able to do this up until a certain point, obviously. But that there are enough people who want to save time, it looks like it'll be worth paying for. At the same time, we will improve the efficiency of dark prediction. I believe that's Valk's cry when they say dark prediction, and modify it so that it can be more useful than before. And now we can get a little bit of a better idea here of this image and what's kind of going on. This is the new enhancing interface, and that second window that you guys see, not the one on the left there that says 50%, but that one in the middle of the image with the Valk's cry and the Blackstones. Then you've got the weapon, and then the Valk's, as they say, the dark prediction there. I think that's what that is. What that window is that new streamlined window with everything fail stacks in it, right? So that window is your window on building up your fail stack, right? So you have your Valk's Cry, which gives you those 10 fail stacks. You have your Blackstones, which you can now use to get fail stack levels. You've got that weapon, which you can devour. So you'll be able, you know, you can still devour now, but it looks like that this window is going to also act as a the replacement for devouring. So they can just add it in right there. So you can devour for fail stacks. And of course, you can end up using your Valk's, your Advice of Valk's there, / dark prediction for fail stacks as well. So all of it there is in that window. Don't look at the numbers, by the way, very important. The numbers here, they've even mentioned, I believe that they're just placeholders. They're just numbers just to have them there. This is obviously all still being in the works. This is not in game. Even in the Korean version, this is not in the game here. So don't look at the specific numbers, because if you do, it'll make it more confusing here. The whole point is just to use this image to get an idea of what these various different systems is that they are working on. So there you have it right there. Very interesting. And then we get into dragon scale fossils. So dragon scale fossil is an item designed to make it easier to obtain a basic stack. You can get 20 or 40 stacks from them. This is a way to get a slightly stronger stack than the function of exchanging the Blackstone for the initial stack mentioned above. To further increase the usability of this item, we will increase the drop rate and place additional NPCs that can be exchanged in each village. I'm curious as well as, does this increased drop rate mean that they're going to drop from different mobs outside of where they drop now? Because I believe right now they only drop at certain farm spots. Like, I know you can get them at Blood Wolves, you can get them at a lot of the different like dragon spots, but I don't think you can get them at a lot of other places like Kama Sylvia spots and some of the places that people spend a lot of time at now. So are they going to increase the drop rate of where they're currently at the spot, or are they going to add the dragon scale fossils to a whole bunch of areas where you currently cannot get them right now? Kind of like the massive pure magic changes that we had last week. Now you'll be able to get massive pure magic from a whole bunch of different places. So we'll see how that actually is implemented there. In the future, it is also under development to get a slightly higher stack than the current one. So right now you can get 20 and 40 stacks from dragon scale fossils. You might be able to now get like 50 or 60 stacks as well. We'll have to see the details when this actually comes to the game. In addition, we'll make it much easier to get the basic stack than now by allowing you to use the dragon scale fossil directly from the enhanced UI above. So it looks like you won't even have to. Interesting though that they said that more exchange, additional NPCs placed. Maybe that means more drop rates for the fossils. I'm not too sure, because why would there be more NPCs if you can use them directly from the UI? So that could be a translation thing right there. If anybody knows, maybe can take a little bit of a better guess than me at that. Feel free to let me know, but it looks like you'll be able to use your fossils directly from the UI without even having to go and exchange them. So we'll see. Expansion of the Blackstone supply method of the frozen waves. Now this one is a little bit tricky here with the translation. This one I could not 100% fully get myself. It looks like that they're improving just drop rates overall, but it's something about the 100% chance in one shot. The Blackstone of the Frozen Waves is an item that allows adventurers who hit Tubala, Yudu Bala to succeed in strengthening Dong Tubala with a 100% chance in one shot. So this one I'm not going to go over too much in detail here because the translations, like, I can't fully interpret this. If you guys have a better idea, again, feel free to let me know. But they might be talking about the Tuvala gear. They might be talking about that item from the season pass that allows you to take like a Tet Tuvala to Pen Tuvala, but I'm not 100% sure. So this one I'm going to leave alone for now. And then of course the priest in the past, the so-called, this is you know, the ReBlacking, right? This is their interpretation for the ReBlacking process. It was much cheaper to use a system in which the enhancement level of the equipped character decreases when a character dies. Okay, so before the priest, by the way, guys, you know, it used to be even worse, where you'd have to go on a negative karma alt, and you would have to die with negative karma to de-level your equipment. So now we have the priest, at least, which was huge. When the priest was implemented, that is a major change. It de-levels your equipment for you just by paying 100,000 silver, and now you get to skip that, and that saves an insane amount of time. But now they're going to be improving, because as time goes on, you know, these things evolve, and there's even more they can do now, and that includes moving the priest over closer to the blacksmith, as well as all of these other changes right here. So let's see here. The reason I said that at the time was that the equipment purification system suited the worldview of Black Desert well. I wanted the adventurer to take some time to think about whether to stop strengthening while moving to the church. On days when I couldn't, there were days when the stack action replace stuck so well that I had a mental shake when moving dozens of times. Yeah, you do a lot of this when you're enhancing. Like, there's a lot of times I say, guys, it's the walk of shame. On the live stream, I'll say, you got to go through the walk of shame, running from the blacksmith over to the church to de-level your boots, because you do end up spending so much time doing this while enhancing that it's just a process you've got to go through. So now at least it's going to be closer. NPCs in Black Desert sometimes go to and from work at certain times. In a similar way, I wonder how the priest would go on a business trip next to Trannon Underforge to purify the adventurer's equipment accumulated in the dark energy at certain times. So a little bit of lore, you know, kind of a little RP there, but that's okay. That's okay. Basically, case in point, you'll be able to cleanse your gear over at the blacksmith instead of having to go over to the church now. So that's kind of nice. Concluding, so far we have talked about how the stack will change in the future, along with various stories about the stack. We will spare no effort to become a game that can feel the emotions of the present era while maintaining its uniqueness in the future. It will be a fun game where new excitement for adventure and familiar nostalgia coexist no matter when you start. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thank you. So, you know, again, this was one of those things. It was a translation. I couldn't really get into it word for word. We did our best, but I think it was pretty good to see the general change of or the general idea of what they are planning on changing when it comes to the enhancing system, and we know that this will be coming to the game. So we've got a lot to look forward to, not just from what we talked about last week with all of the changes to Massive Pure Magic, Black Star Enhancing, Kaffir Stones, World Bosses, character movements, like so much stuff just from last week, and now we have an idea that they are indeed working on changing lots of different things with enhancing and just making it a whole lot more player friendly. So if you guys feel like enhancing is a major headache, first of all, feel free to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/salt, where I will do all the enhancing for you in the world, to where you never, you know, we do a lot of enhancing there. So if you're looking for big clicks, you'll find a ton of it. But second of all, you can look forward to all these changes that we know are going to be coming to the game to hopefully make it just a lot easier and a lot more player friendly. So I really was excited to see this, super excited to go over in a video. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Now, obviously, we can get even more into detail. Maybe I will in another video. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if we get a little bit more info in the future. But I will also probably go over this in a little bit more detail on the Twitch live stream as well, kind of dig into this picture, get into the very nitty-gritty specifics. But for this video, I wanted to leave it here because we're already at about 23 minutes, and I think that is good. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about all these changes? Which ones are you looking forward to? Feel free to let me know your thoughts, your opinions, and just the overall idea of what you guys think for the future of the game. But with that being said, that is going to be it for the video for today. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It means more than you can imagine. It really does. Thank you for helping out. YouTube algorithm appreciates that stuff. Feel free to subscribe as well. Turn notifications on to get alerts of future videos. So whenever stuff like this comes out, you can always be rest assured I will try to talk about it because I get really excited about it. And yeah, with that being said, that's going to be about it for today. So take care, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day, evening, night, morning, wherever you guys are. And I will see you guys all with a new video very soon. Take care, everyone.